Hey, what's up guys? My name is Kay and today we'll be looking at the SCM-X or Banpresto's SCM-EX or Special Creative Model Johnny Ridden's High Mobility Zaku 2 figure. So this guy is about 5 inches tall, very articulate, and it's very cheap. As of right now, he's the most decent, most articulate Johnny Ridden Zaku 2 action figure that you will get, or that we have right now. Because right now there's only a few Johnny Ridden figures out there. So you have the MSIA Zaku 2 Johnny Ridden type. You have the Xenography Johnny Ridden's Zaku 2, which is pretty much a brick, and this one is somewhere in between of those two. So he is very articulate. He has the option to get detailed. So if you want to make him look better, you have the option to do so. You can just add panel lines and decals on it, which is what I did on mine. So as you can see, there's decals everywhere. I actually referenced my decal application to the Xenography Zaku 2 Johnny Ridden type, which is pretty much the best looking Johnny Ridden figure in terms of like appearance or physical looks. So I highly based it off of that, and I also did some minor changes. I repainted the rifle or the bazooka to German gray. I added paint apps underneath the feet. You can see there's gray and silver paint apps there. I added these two parts here, so that wasn't there before, but I added that just to add some detail on it. I also added some red paint apps here and there on the backpack, and I also changed the thruster colors to light gunmetal just to set it apart, because earlier or out of the box it's painted in gunmetal colors, and that's something I don't like on the thrusters. So I went ahead and changed that. I also added some paint apps on the shield. You can see the gunship gray paint app here. That wasn't there before because it's just a one shade of plastic, so it's just molded in red if you get this out of the box. There was a big 402 pre-painted decal on the shield. I went ahead and sanded that down and replaced it with this, which is a lot better in my opinion. So oh, and I forgot the muzzle here, the nose part right here, as you can see. I'm not sure if you're able to see it, but I added paint app there. I added gray parts in there. The gray area and the base of the neck, that's also added, because back then that wasn't gray before. That's actually red, so I went ahead and changed that. The gray piece or the gray part right here, I also added that myself, and I added black lines on red and brown lines on the dark parts. The hands, I also added the hands, I also separated the colors. You can see I added gray there. When you get this out of the box, that's just one big piece molded in red. So I added gray just to set it apart. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I did on the figure. So we're gonna move on to the articulation, or well, actually not articulation. Let's go ahead and go over the accessories first. For accessories, this guy doesn't have a lot. He basically gets the beam bazooka, which is equipped right now. You get a pair of closed fists. So there's one fist. Oh shoot! So there's one fist already equipped on the left arm. Let's see. There you go. So there's one left fist already equipped on the left arm right here, and then you get one trigger hand for the right arm, and then this is the other. This is the right fist that it comes with. If my camera lets me focus on it, there you go. So this is the other fist for the right arm, and then you get another accessory here. which is the let's see if I can find it again. So another part or another piece that it comes with is a left relaxed hand. So you can, I'm not even sure if this is an action pose hand. It looks like a relaxed hand or a grabbing hand to me, but yeah, you get this one too, which if you can see I also painted it, because if you get this, it's just one shade of plastic, which is red. So I already made some color separations in there to make it look better. So those are the manipulators that it comes with. Now, aside from the beam bazooka, unfortunately this thing doesn't have the heat hawk. But if you have the standard Zaku 2 SCMX figure, it has a beam tomahawk holder, which you can put it right here. So it's actually compatible with the high mobility variant, so you can do that. Now, another accessory that it comes with is the Dom bazooka, which is this one. So this is the let's see, so this is the exact same bazooka as the SCM EX Dom figures. So he has the same exact bazooka. So on this one, this was painted, or this was molded in gunmetal colors, which again I personally did not like. So I went ahead and repainted it to German gray. I added brown linings for the most part of it, and then I used a just a basic Gundam marker for the scope, and then I added silver on this thing here, and then I also added some decals here and there just to make it look better. Now the handle doesn't move, so it's just like that. So you can swap this with the hands. So both hands, or this trigger finger here, can pretty much hold this, but he kind of looks awkward holding it. So I personally don't like it, or I personally don't like the figure holding this bazooka for some reason. But if you wanted to do it, I mean you have the option to do so, but I personally like this one better. Another thing that it can do is that this can open up, and then you can just put the bazooka in here and it locks it in place. There you go. So that's how you do it. So you can carry this thing around. So those are pretty much the accessories. So what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna go ahead and remove the hand here, or the beam bazooka, and we're gonna go ahead and go with the articulation, or start reviewing the articulation. Moving on to the articulation, we're gonna start from the head all the way down to the feet. So the head can move up that far. He can look up that far. It's on a, I think it's in a double ball joint. I'm not too sure. It's on a, I think it's on a hinge, ball hinge connection. So he can do the chicken also, like that. He can, the head can rotate, and it can go 360. Another, I guess a gimmick that they added is that the mono eye can also it can also be moved. I never mentioned this when I reviewed the Black TriStar Zaku's, but he has the same. They have the same features, the Johnny Ridden Zaku. So you can take off the I guess the helmet, and you can move around the mono eye, like so. There you go. And then once you're happy with the position of the mono eye, you can just bring back the head. There you go. And that's how you move the mono eye. But that looks awkward. We're gonna place it back in the middle. There you go. So that's the head articulation. We're gonna go with the arms now. So the arms can go all the way around. It can move up that far, or it can move sideways that far. However, if you remove the if you remove this, because this is actually the one that's hindering the articulation. So if you move the shoulder armor, it can move up really high. So you can see right now the range is actually better. So if you have the Zaku's, because their shoulder armors or the regular Zaku's have a really soft shoulder armor, so they can bend all the way up compared to this one. But I actually prefer this shoulder armor better because it's made out of a sturdier plastic, or a better looking plastic. I don't know. It's just different. This is the regular Zaku 2. I added details on it. If I remove this, you can see it's actually squishy. So on this guy, it doesn't hinder the articulation. See, oh, there you go, it falls apart. Or since it has that rubbery shoulder armor, he can actually move his arm way up, which the Johnny Ridden Zaku can't, with, you know, given the harder plastic. So it's a give or take kind of thing. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it's still all right. And all right, so that's the shoulder. So the shoulder can move up and down. It can wiggle. So the arm can go around. Again, let me just you know, show you guys that. So the arm can go around 360, not a problem. It has a bicep swivel, not a problem there. Now it has a really good double jointed elbow, and then the wrist joint here is on a standard ball joint, so it can just rotate. So it rotates and wiggles just like a standard ball joint would do. And then for the shield, it's on a ball joint, so you know it can wiggle around and rotate also. And then the torso articulation, it has a really good ab crunch. There you go, you can see that. There you go, really beautiful. And then he can go all the way down. He can actually do a bow, which is pretty impressive. There you go. There you go. He has the body copter feature. Body copter! But yeah, you don't have to do that, but he can do it because he's on a ball. The torso or the waist section is on a ball joint. The side skirts is on that rubbery material, same as the rubbery shoulder armor of the Zaku. So again, it's one of those give or take kind of thing. Some doesn't like this, some don't like this. I personally, it doesn't bother me that much, but let's see here. But you can move the arm that far, that high. There you go. He can do the split. He has a thigh swivel here. Now, because of the new leg armor here, it's actually hindering the joint, the knee joint. So he can only do a 90-degree bend, which is not really, it doesn't bother me that much, again, because it's a space type. He doesn't need to bend around that much, so because he's pretty much flying around. But yeah, it's supposed to be double jointed, but with this one, it's hindering it, so it's just a single bend. The feet here, or the foot, is on a ball joint, but the way it's constructed, it actually gives more room for movement. So you have an ankle rocker here, and then it can point down that far, it can point up that far, really high, and that is it for articulation. So all in all, he's a very articulate figure. I personally like it. I like the rubbery skirts mainly because it gives more movement, or it actually gives more space for movement without hindering things. Because with the Zaku's, as far as I know, with the robot Damashi figures, or with the kits, one of the things that hinder the Zaku's from dynamic posing is mainly parts hindering each other. One of them is actually the skirts. So because of that hard plastic made out, because of the skirt being on a hard plastic or on a polystyrene plastic for model kits, it's actually hindering parts. So you can't really move it as high as the SCM EX, even especially the MSIA, which is really a brick. So as far as I know, the robot Damashi figure can't do this. Even the RG kits, as far as I know, can't do this. So there's not a lot of model kits or figures that can do a high kick for Zaku. So this is one of the things that's good about the SCM EX Johnny Ridden or the Zaku figures, because of that rubbery skirt. So that is it, guys. So the figure is really nice. So I'm gonna give it a 4. So I'm gonna give it a 4 mainly because there's some things I don't like about this kit or this figure. It's a very minor issue, but my main gripe about this figure is just the leg armor hindering things. Other than that, I kind of wish the open palm hands is more expressive. I mean, the Zakus have a more expressive open palm hand, and this thing doesn't have it. So it's just more of a relaxed hand, which is kind of a bummer. I personally don't like this, since I personally like the more expressive open palm hands for action poses. It's much more convincing with more expressive open palm hands. So this is like a deal breaker for me, but it's a very minor gripe. Another gripe that I don't like about this figure is there's no articulation on the backpack. I kind of wish the thrusters are on ball joints, even the thrusters on the legs, but unfortunately they're just static, so that you can't really move it. And then the flaps on the backpacks is not on a hinge, so I kind of wish this can open up, but they kind of did it. But it's on that rubbery material, so you can do that, but it's kind of awkward. So yeah, so this guy is an awesome figure. It retails about 30-40 bucks depending on where you get them. I would highly recommend this if you want a really articulate Zaku 2 figure or a high mobility Johnny Ridden figure. But if you like the kit more, especially now that we're gonna have the real grade Johnny Ridden Zaku 2 soon, you do have that option. But if you're like myself, which prefers action figures, since they are more stable, then you can go with this guy. Is really fun to play with, and there's no problems if you just drop him like that, because he's really he's built like that. So he's built to be more durable than model kits. So thank you guys for watching. That's my review of the SCM X or SCM EX Johnny Ridden's high mobility Zaku 2, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next review.